What's up, everybody? I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching The Sit Down. Clark Duke's here. Brand new movie, Arkansas, coming out. What's up, man? How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
You got it. I'm doing well. So I really enjoyed your movie. It was cool to see you doing your thing with a bunch of people that we've seen a ton of, but we kind of see them in a different way in this movie. So what was it like directing it and putting it all together?
I love directing it. I mean, like you said, the cast is so awesome that it really made it makes directing a lot easier when the actors are that good. It makes your job a lot easier. But I loved it. It's what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah, totally. How'd you get everybody in the mix for this one?
They liked the script. They just responded to the script. That's really all you got to get actors at the end of the day, if they like the material.
Yeah, I feel you. You know, it's one thing to direct. It's another thing to direct guys like John Malkovich, Hemsworth, Vince Vaughn, Vivica A. Fox. I mean, like, what was the biggest challenge for you just as a director?
Honestly, like I said, working with all of them was easy because they're all such total pros. Like they don't need a whole lot of directing to just little just pushing them in little directions here and there. They made it easy. I mean, acting in the film and directing was challenging at times, just because you've got to compartmentalize a lot of different stuff in your brain, and you just get tired, frankly, at a certain point.
I really enjoyed the music selections you guys had. I also enjoyed the wardrobe, especially your shirts you had going on. So how important are little decisions like that throughout the movie?
I mean, I think they're huge. That's like the texture of the film, and I'm glad you said both of those things, because I those are all my shirts in the movie mostly. And I had a really specific look in mind I wanted for this guy. And so I feel like we pulled it off if you noticed it and liked it, so that's good. And the music, the same thing. I thought it was fun to do, and we lucked out by getting the Flaming Lips to do all the music in the movie. Is unbelievable. All the cover songs
certainly makes a difference, right?
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, obviously nobody's seen it yet, but the Flaming Lips cover all the songs in the film.
Well, I feel like it's an interesting time to have a movie because this one will go right to digital. And, a lot of movies have been doing that. But what do you think about that idea as opposed to getting the theatrical run and then onto digital?
I mean, me personally, I love the theatrical experience, and I was pretty devastated that we didn't get to premiere at South by Southwest and come out in theaters. But, I think we were already on the way to having VOD be the dominant kind of distribution model anyway. I think this has just sped the process up. I thought it would take longer for the studios to just put everything like straight to video instead of holding it off, but I thought it would take like months, and it took like 2 weeks. So I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, like you said, it's definitely an interesting time. I hope theaters aren't destroyed by it. I hope they come back. But there's also the reality that all that gets a big theatrical release now is Disney Marvel stuff. Unless you're in New York or LA, you're probably not watching indie films in a theater anyway.
Right.
So I'm not sure that it'll affect my movie, that much in the big scheme of things, because I think most people were going to find it on VOD or on DVD regardless. So I don't know. I don't know. I hope like the word will get out the same. Maybe it will. Maybe you'll get more people watching it because they're strapped at home. They gotta watch stuff.
We definitely need some new options, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, going to theater is a fun experience, and I mean, especially like growing up as kids, like that's the thing to do. So like, what are some movies that you saw in the theater early on that like really stuck with you?
I mean, to be honest, like I grew up in rural Arkansas, so I mean, most of the movies that I love that made me want to be a filmmaker, I didn't see in theaters. Stuff like Tarantino, and also I was too young, but I could rent them. Like my mom told the video store guy, like, yeah, let him rent whatever he wants. So, I remember like when I was way too young watching, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction and Boogie Nights and like those are my guys, like all the like late 90s Miramax guys, like 97, 98, 99. Fight Club was big, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, like all those kind of movies everybody had the posters of in like 1999. Like I didn't see most of those in a theater because of where I lived. But now that I've lived in LA, the last 10 years. It's since I went to college. The theaters are great here. You know, you've got the ArcLight, you've got the Landmark. Now there's the Alamo Draft House downtown opened up, and there's the Arrow, the Egyptian, New Beverly. Like, you actually can go watch revival movies and indie movies. But so I don't think it'll change in LA ever, because yeah, you know, it just won't here probably. But I hope theaters aren't I hope they're not further marginalized, and I hope that it doesn't like narrow the scope even more to just like Disney stuff.
Yeah, because it really limits what people are going to see. Like, those movies have an audience, but like, I want to see more besides that. Like, there's a ton of great stuff being made out there.
And, you know,
like, your film is really an example of that.
And I think a lot of people feel the same way, because like when MoviePass briefly existed, like, because I've always went to movies on like weekdays and matinees and saw, you know, small films, and the theaters were packed all of a sudden. Like, I wasn't the only person in there. So that lets you know that like people do like going to the theater, and they will watch other stuff in a theater. I don't know if like the pricing model is the problem or what, but I mean, to me, like, MoviePass was just too good to be true, but MoviePass proved to me that like people will go to the theater and watch small movies.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll probably figure out the pricing model, especially too as they figure out like the on-demand model too and what that looks like.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's a lot to be determined, but I think you've had a great career so far, and I've watched a ton of your stuff. So like, what was the first one for you where you're like, all right, I'm doing this acting thing. Like, this is going to be my thing?
I mean, I've acted since I was a kid, basically. So I'd always enjoyed acting. I mean, out of college, like Clark and Michael, the web series of me and Michael Cera, that was like, okay, like I feel like I can like work and have a career. You know, Hot Tub Time Machine was the first movie that came out that then after that, my kind of walking around recognition changed. Like just people like knew you from that. The Office, being on The Office was a thing like afterwards that you could feel the difference of like, oh wow, a lot of people watch The Office.